Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. This video I'll be taking through part 8 of the transformation of my XF Falcon into a Replica Race Car. So the previous episodes I've done the body, done the insides of all the panels, and now we're up to the exterior on the panels. So this video will be taking you through the pre-paint preparation, wiping down with tack rags and Prepsol and wax and grease remover here, and we'll also give you a look at the base coat. We've got base coat included in this video as well on these panels. The next one will be clear coat on these panels. So this is just some wax and grease removing solvent which I'm using here, and as you can see I'm not wearing any gloves, and I've had a lot of guys worried about my health, and don't worry about me, I'm fine. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't get silicone and it doesn't really bother me, so you can stop asking me to wear gloves because it's not going to happen. It doesn't affect my skin, I don't get rashes, and a little bit of solvent on your skin is not really going to hurt you too much. But if you want to wear gloves, that's up to you, and that's fine, it doesn't bother me. So anyway, so yeah, I'm just wiping on and wiping off on every single panel. Just make sure you've wiped it off nice, and because you can get left with a film of dust over the panel if you haven't wiped, or a film of wax and grease remover over the panel if you don't wipe it off properly. So it's pretty, and then that can end up leading to delamination. If you get a stain chip, it can actually start flaking up, so make sure you wipe it off real nice. Sometimes for a job like this, you got to grab a couple of rags, because even the wipe off rag can start filling up with the liquid. So I'm just doing a swap over here. That old wipe on rag, it's about stuffed, so throw the old wipe on rag out, change it over with the wipe off, and turn the wipe off rag into a new wipe on rag. Grab a new wipe off rag. So next up we've got the high pressure air with the tack cloth, and just blowing off. This is your final chance to get rid of any dust and lint and stuff like that before you start spray painting. Using custom made colour for this, I made it up myself. Used it in Standox solvent base coat. So I just looked at a photo and decided that looked good, and just added some blues and a touch of white to clean it up a little bit, and then I'm pretty happy with how the colour came up. So I've sped up the tack ragging and the Prepsol to twice speed, but slowed it down for the actual paintwork. So I wasn't too fussed about the lower below those door molds. See how I've left that filler in there. Usually you'd prime it up, but I knew that the racing stripes actually ended up going through there anyway, so I ended up using the clear coat as a primer, and I was able to sand it down. So, and even on that bonnet, some people would usually prime it, but it turns out that this filler I used is quite good quality, and you don't end up getting any shrink back if you sand it back properly and you feather it out fine enough. So I was pretty happy with how it came up without priming. Solid colour helps too sometimes. If it was a silver metallic, I may have wanted to put some primer over it. So it's a pretty good coverage. You can tell straight away it's covering it up just about in the one coat. There might be a few spots that are transparent, but real good coverage on this, so I was pretty happy with it. I ended up using 4 litres of base coat colour for this job, and 7.5 litres of clear coat. That's for full inside and out repaint, which is pretty standard, 4 litres of colour, which ends up turning into 6 litres by the time you thin it down to a 2-to-1 ratio. Personally, I actually leave it a touch thicker, so just a little bit less than 2-to-1. A bit thicker is going to make it cover better, so you end up saving a coat. There was another painter working here, and he was getting mottle in bonnets, and his blends weren't looking very well, and he's been doing it for 10 years longer than me, but I didn't want to go and start making him look like a fool, so I just let him go, and I ended up telling him why later on. He's like, oh, I don't know why, and I said, I know why, mate, because you you're thinning your colour out way too much. I went up to grab some paint of his to do some touch-ups on a job when he was in there painting, and it was just way too thin, and there's no body in there. It was too much thinners, so something to be conscious of, not over thinning your paint. You can have more problems than what it's worth. You go through more paint, they won't blend properly, and you'll end up getting mottle on some of the light metallic colours too. So, especially with these guns, the GDI Pro with HVLP, they really smash out a lot of paint. I've only got the 1.3mm tip on mine, but it still pumps out a hell of a lot of paint, so you can actually paint with quite thick paint and still get it on nice. Won't go on too peely or anything. At the end of the vid, we've got a quick look around the car as it is at the moment. I'm actually uploading this video from Thailand. I'm on holidays at the moment. I've uploaded it and I'm publishing it now so that you guys get to continue to see your weekly video on the transformation on this XF. I've been putting a vid up each week. Like, comment and share my videos. Questions are welcome. I prefer them in the comments box than the inbox. If you put them in the comments box, other people can read them, learn from your questions, also add to the conversation. My Facebook page, there is a link in the comments box, in the description box of all of my videos, so if you haven't checked out my Facebook page, check that out. I upload photos couple of times a week, and I also post a link to all of these videos on my Facebook page, so make sure you can keep up to date with all my latest through that as well. So that's our first coat of base coat done, and but you can see that by the time I've come back around to the start, it's actually already dried off, so it's about ready to continue going straight away. There's no time, there's no need to stop in between coats, which is what I like. I like to get in, get out, get it done. Less time in the booth, less dust you're going to get, and quicker you can get on to the next job. Which is what I really like about summer. Over here in WA, it's not summer at the moment, it's winter, but I like to get the booth up nice and warm, emulate those hotter months. I've got it up to about 30 degrees at the moment, so I'm actually putting this on quite heavy for base coat. I've found that when you do base coat solid colours and you put the base coat on nice and wet, you end up getting a nice clean clear coat over the top of it. In the coming weeks, we'll be uploading the videos on the racing stripes, the wheels. I've sprayed the wheels, I've sprayed the second and third colour on the bumper bars and down the sides, the bonnet scoop, the spoiler. I've got the XR6 headlights in it as well. If you want to see the car up close, come down to, if you're in the Perth area, you should come down to the Custom Coffees and Car is a meeting that we have down in Fremantle every now and then. It's a bit less common in the winter, but it's once a month in the summer months, so I'm going to start coming down there a bit more often, so keep an eye out down there, you might be able to have a look at it. At the very end of this vid, we've got a couple of links to a couple of my popular videos, a couple of my good videos, and also a subscription link. So subscribe to keep up to date with the latest work of mine. Check out those vids if you haven't already seen them. So the spray gun settings I'm using is pretty basic settings for base coat. I this is my Basecoat gun, and I never really even changed the settings on it. It just stays the same. Fan wide open. The fluid, which is the second one down on the back of the gun, have that wound right open, then the fan open, and then have the pressure set to about 25 psi. With the HVLP air cap is the one I'm using, the H1 air cap. So it ended up that we put the bonnet scoop on after it was painted. Usually I would like to put the bonnet scoop on, or at least cut the holes out first, and then you paint over all those edges, but I was still waiting on the bonnet scoop. It turned out it took another week until it came in. So I found most of the parts for the fiberglass parts on eBay. eBay is quite good for car parts here in Australia. All the fiberglass companies have got eBay accounts, and they'll do shipping for you for the bonnet scoops, boot spoilers, and most of the old cars. So if you're looking for parts for your cars, eBay is quite good. So I've basically run out of stuff to say. You're obviously still interested. If you're not, you can flick through to closer to the end, have a look at the car as it is at the moment, and I'll just give you a quick bit of a background story on myself and what got me to making these videos. I started my apprenticeship at the age of 17 after my grandfather and uncle, who are in the trade, found an apprenticeship for me. And I then sprayed in Melbourne as a tradesman for a further 8 years after finishing my 4-year apprenticeship. So 12 years I did it for, and then I moved over here to Western Australia, which is I'm now in Perth. And I worked in the mines in the exploration drilling and grade control drilling on the mine sites for a year, and doing RC drilling, reverse circulation drilling, and then came back and worked in Perth. This was originally just going to be a fill-in job, just for a bit of time, to kill a bit of time in between moving back to Melbourne. But it turned out that I in fact really liked working here. Good bunch of blokes, good bosses, and that's the main reason I ended up staying around. And they're nice enough guys to let me do the filming, do my own cars, and they let me do the filming of these videos that you've obviously seen a few of. So that's just about bringing the base coat to an end on this job. I just went out and started turning the heat back on out there. That's what I did when I came out, because this booth starts overheating, so you got to turn the booth up and down with the heat. So once that's done, we can then clear coat, which will be the next video. So this is the car as it is at the moment. This was actually a few weeks ago I made this video. I painted those tyres myself. Got all the details put on by Yorkies, stripes. The first guy does all our pinstripes and that. Good job on them, pretty happy. A few of the other stickers I was able to find on eBay. I'm just waiting on the chrome rocket cover to put that on. Apart from that, I might get a chrome exhaust tip. I've still got 1 or 2 stickers to go on. I don't want to go too overboard with it though. Keep tuned for next week's episode. Clear coat on those same panels that we just did. Check out those vids at the end if you haven't already seen them. Thanks again for watching, and this has been another Gunman production.